Hello class, my name is Steve, me almost Steven, and I am going to be teaching you guys, kind of went through the practice final, went over a lot of things to understand, and think I've kind of got most of it, but just kind of put together a some instruction for each module, and then I actually put together a study guide based on that midterm that I also attached to the to this post. So we're going to go ahead and start with the comprehension. It really just an audio comprehension. Make sure you've studied your vocab and things like that. The second section was grammatica, or more or less grammar. That sets you up to more or less something to the left, something to the right, comparing things. It's under the cat or next to the cat, things like that. Again, if you guys want to print this out, you can print it out and kind of go along with me here. That is that section right there. The A, this the grammatic. So this is the B section of that, where you're going to have to talk about verbs in the present and do your conjugation. Here are just a couple of kind of help study to kind of the os, as, a, amos, ais, and an for the AR verbs, and then the o, s, a, amos, es, and n for the ER verbs. So I did want to kind of discuss irregular verbs. I think I did a video on this a while back. The problem with an irregular verb is it doesn't follow the rules. Therefore, it's just one of those things you have to study. I did find in the back of the books, it's Appendix F. It actually has a bunch of irregular verbs back there. So I did put 3 irregular verbs that were in the book and how they were laid out. And then I put the 3 irregular verbs that were actually on the practice final down here on the bottom. Just so you guys kind of see those. But there's quite a few in the back of the book. I recommend going to that part of it, kind of reading through those, and hopefully that'll help you guys kind of just know irregular verbs, because there's no real way to kind of figure that out. The next section on the midterm was the comparisons. So I've got the comparisons right now. You'll be able to need to be able to compare equality and inequality. Doing that, whether it's equal, more than equal, or less than equal. So be able to study that. The next section, the D section, for direct complements, had to kind of figure out the L, the la, the un, the una for singular, and then the plural is los, las, unos, unas, and make sure that you guys are aware of all those. Now we'll move on to ser and estar. So again, just this is more for if we kind of learn these brackets and everything, it should be pretty easy to do the test. The singular and the plural, getting that all together. I also put page numbers on everything where you guys can reference where I got these charts, so that you can study them right out of the book if you don't want to print this. The next one is the section was past tense. So narrating in the past, describing the past in the past. There's all that right there. But again, these are just in order. I'm sure this isn't going to be the way the final is, but I kind of used, if that section talked about these things, I needed these items to study for that section. That's kind of what I would have put on here. Going from the narrating the past of ir and ser and poder and tener, and then of course estar, disrar, and hacer, and then AR verb endings, and then ER and IR. Está, hoy, amos, and then on the ER and IR verbs, they're actually the same, so it's este, hoy, imos, estés, eran. Alright, so now moving on to vocabulary. This is just studying the vocabulary. There's nothing you're going to be able to do other than study that. I did put here more or less the vocab words that were in this this practice, and then more or less the English words next to it. But chances are these are not going to be the words that are on the final. Just kind of so you had an idea of the type of things that you're going to need to match up to the sentences and things like that. The next section was the La Familia. So you're going to need to be able to say who is who. And I also put down there the possessive adjectives, because you need to more or less, if it's one thing possessed, more or less I have my one abuela, or my one grandmother, I mean, or tus, grandparents would be tus, two or more things. But make sure you're aware of those. What they used in that section was kind of, who is your uncle's daughter, and that would be, of course, your cousin, which is prima. So anyway, so there's that. After that, culture, more or less in all the chapters. Before we really get before we get to the vocab, there's a lot of discussing about where things are from and things like that, and Hispanic culture. So you'll kind of want to make sure you're freshed up on those, because that's what that whole section was about. The next section was the lecture, and that's just reading and just understanding what is happening in the story, and being able to more or less say, yes, this happened, or no, that didn't happen. And then the end is, of course, a writing. You're just going to need to be able to talk to someone or describe something in Spanish. In this case, I think it discussed a vacation, and you had to kind of say when I went on vacation, why I went on vacation, and kind of hit those points. I believe it was 15 to 20 sentences. Anyways, hope this has helped you guys. I'll attach this, all these items to the thing if you guys want to download them. And any responses I appreciate. Thanks, bye, and good luck on the final.